Good evening. This is Spirit Journey, and this is actually my second video for the day. It is May 25th, 2017, and it's about 9:30 p.m. I want to talk about the two terrorist attacks. One that happened about a week or so ago in Times Square. There was a driver and he mowed down people in Times Square. And the second terrorist attack is the incident that happened at a concert. The person had blown himself up. Well, but what I want to say to preface this video is my condolences, and my heart goes out to anyone who was killed or got hurt. I don't want anyone to be hurt, and my video is not to undermine those people who were, injured in any form, and I do not wish harm on anybody. But in watching the news account online about both instances, my antenna stood up. And so I will explain to you why I feel this way. I want to first discuss the Times Square terrorist, or whatever how you want to call him, Mr. Rojas. I forget his first name, but he's a veteran from the U.S. Navy, and he lives in New York City, in the Bronx to be specific. I'm also someone who is a veteran and served in the Navy. I felt a little maybe defensive because I felt awkward because I felt they were focusing on his military status. And I feel that that it is believed in some truth movements that you'll have governments singling out certain demographics, and one of them are veterans, regardless whether you have an honorable separation or dishonorable, and anyone who served, that they may be rounded up in the future as potential terrorists or against the U.S. So it's how do you say, profiling certain demographics, and this one are veterans. So of course I'm going to feel a little uncomfortable being a veteran. But I felt that they wanted you to know that he's a veteran and that he's doing it because he's a veteran. Now, prior to him being in the military, the media already had his background. It seemed like they talked to neighbors, whatever. They had all this information. Yes, he also had a police record. I think at least 2 police records. But even outside of that, they had so much information about him, and it was reminiscing to me of the 9/11, what happened in the Twin Towers, how the government found out right away about that there was 19 alleged terrorists and where they were from. They had photos of them. And so now with this Times Square, they knew who he was, all his background. And so it just made me, at least, it reminded me of that. So quickly they had such details about this person. But I felt something, it seems, I don't know, staged, in my opinion. He's speeding and mowing down people. And when I saw this online, I was initially horrified. But then just suddenly said, wait a minute, this person is sitting up after being thrown up in the air, and other people around the other victims, as if nothing happened. like they were just like a bowling pins, and then they just stand back up. I'm thinking if someone hit me with that force in a car, I'm going to be staying down. You're going to see blood or whatever, but you don't see that. And in fact, in one of them, you just see some guy rubbing the back of his head. He was sitting up. Another video, you showed another victim on the ground, and he had like a tourniquet around, or something to stop the bleeding on his leg, and has his cell phone taking pictures of his leg, and it doesn't look like he's crying out in pain, and looked like a middle-aged man, and nothing. And then I saw videos of that you have computer graphics, computer generated images of people being like they had this one video. It was like a platform, and like looked like a hands of a clock, and it was just spinning around and around, and people running and trying to beat the little dial to hit them, and they were all spilling over like bowling pins, and you see their bodies kicking up in the air and everything. But that was all computer generated. Everything about that. And then I saw other videos of how to simulate a car hitting people, and it was Hollywood, and how they do it, and it just was very odd. So the car speeds, it hits people, and then it hits into these pinions, I think you call them, and it was on its side, and somehow he was able to climb out. There was no scratch on him, not a scratch. No, his clothes look pristine. No facial burns, because the what do you call it, the airbags did deploy inside his car. And he comes out, and he's acting like a madman, and you see that he punches someone, a traffic person. They're wearing those yellow vests, and you see in the video him being punched, the traffic person. But this person was never interviewed. The media interviewed all these questionable people, but not that person who got punched in the face. And one of the interviews I saw was two men. The interviewer, and then a young female. And this young female claimed to have, I don't know whether she said that, I don't remember whether she said she knew the girl that got killed in Times Square, or that she was standing by her, and then the girl that survived crossed the street, and then when she turns around, the other girl is dead. But how they acted, their facial expression, and it just seemed like he was trying to show like he was concerned, but it just looked really like poor. It was awful. And this interview supposed to have occurred right after the incident. So and it was a very hot day too. It was in the 90s, and so they don't look like excited or sweating or any indication of any type of stress. Also, with the alleged driver, that what he was wearing, I noticed right off he was wearing a brown T-shirt, and a lot of people don't really wear brown T-shirts. It just stood out to me. And then when he was in police custody, he was wearing a red shirt, and his hands were behind his back at this time. Why did they change his shirt? He didn't like the brown one anymore, and his hair was pristine. A beautiful, detailed haircut, really nice. So here this guy's supposed to have problems, mental problems, and violence, and but he's taking very good care of his appearance. So it doesn't add up, you're crazed, you're not thinking right, but you have a lot of detail about your personal appearance. It didn't jive with me. And again, when he came out the car, there was a professional photographer right there, and if you look on the internet, all those pictures were taken by a professional photographer, and he runs off. Why didn't they interview him? Hey, yeah, I was right at the scene. I saw him punch the guy when he came out the car, and blah blah blah. Nothing. And then one of the people, one of the one of the photos is of the perpetrator, cops, and other man who this other man that was also right there at the scene of the accident, but again looks like everything was staged. So what is the deal? Why is this happening? All these people who are being connected into this incident, but it doesn't seem, it doesn't sit right with me. They also made a shrine at the site of the accident. Where the car was is where they have the shrine for a memorial for the alleged victim, young lady that died in this accident. So I was confused. Why would they have it right there where the car was? But either way, I don't know. So the second portion I want to talk about is about Manchester. In Manchester, you had an alleged bomber, and that he was born there, but his parents are from North Africa, and they migrated to the UK. Now this incident also is problematic for me. And what was problematic was that, again, they know who the alleged bomber was. Now, how do they get his name if he blew himself up? Where do you get that information? Someone is blown up. How do you distinguish what his face looked like and all that? I don't know. But you would think that, okay, let's say there was a camera, and that before he blew himself up, they had a zoom in on him or something and got his picture and blah, blah, blah. But there was never, I did not hear if he was ever arrested in the past, but the U.S. government, not the British government, had reckoned about him, and that they, I think, tried to warn the UK that he was a threat. But again, what was really problematic, people may have different feelings about certain things, but for you to be automatically put on a list, to be wary of, I don't know. It just seemed like, I don't know. And why weren't they notified? And why didn't, and if they were, why didn't their government, watch him? Why would they let him even go near a public event? And you don't see any explosion. You hear you hear something go off, but you don't see that. You do see people running. So it's just a lot of questions, and it's like I feel that they're trying to again link that because of someone's religion and nationality, that to be wary of that. So here with both terrorists, the guy in the U.S. at Times Square, him being a military, a veteran, and then in the UK that he's a North African Muslim who was radicalized. And it's like two archetype negative people are being pushed in your face, and that I feel that they want you to be wary of those demographics, to put you in fear and in a state of alert. And so I don't want people to react and do something hasty against any of those demographics, whether they be a veteran or someone from who's a Muslim or someone from North Africa or the Middle East. I feel that they want you to feel that way because they want to manipulate how you feel, and that they want to pass laws that will hinder your freedom. And that is the motive why I am doing this video. Yes, it's controversial, and yes, if anyone was hurt in any way, my condolences and sympathies go out to you. But if this thing is just a false flag or something, I don't know what it is, but just something doesn't sit right with me. Let me know what you think, what information you may have that will bring more light to me to understand what's going on, or am I hitting right on the head that there's something up in those accounts? So take care and enjoy the rest of your day and be safe. Bye-bye, guys.